I think we're live, and here we go, week 2. And it's not really a matter of once a week type things we're doing, but to study stress a little bit. I do have a little bit of a different vantage point. Excuse if that's too busy for you back there, because I didn't have to clean it up. But we're going to be talking about stress today, and we sort of kind of went over that last week as we were starting this little venture. So I want to start by saying, anyone who is watching, if you could in the comments below put your name and what state you're from, and we can automatically start praying for you. And if you join us while we're live, then you'll get the opportunity to talk to several people and maybe glean some information during the middle of this. But hi Tamsin, knew you would be here. And so we're going ahead and get started, and we're talking about stress today. And then I believe as time permits, the next time we do this, we're going to be talking about the women in the Bible. So additionally, as you say hello and comment where you're from. Hi Jamie from California. I'm in California. Where you at? Once we comment that, then we'll know where you're from, and then if you have any prayer requests, go ahead and put them in like at random, because I go back through and read the comments through the whole live, and then we can add them also to the Facebook page prayer request, which is up and ready for the week. So Riverside, Stanislaus County, right in the center of the state, technically Modesto series, but Modesto. Currently today I'm not in either one of those towns. I am in my office though. How are you both doing? Looks like there is just the two of us here. I'm going to go ahead and try to open my comments on my phone just so that I can see them a little bit better. I thought I was going to be able to see them up there, but you're a little bit farther. I think this vantage point is better, don't you? You're not kind of looking at my nostrils. I went back and watched the video last week and nearly about cringed. We won't be doing that again. So what I did was I went in the sanctuary and I got Pastor's mic stand. He had an iPad holder. That's how he reads his words during the week when we're singing. When they're singing, pretty much. I try to stay out of it as much as possible these days, but that's neither here nor there. I went and installed his mic stand. It works perfectly for my iPad. There, you're in a better vantage point other than my crazy desk back there. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can get to these comments. Stress. You know what? I'll be very honest. I had a hard time dealing with the word stress this week because, and this is almost the way it happens, the very second you start talking about a specific temptations, like I think that the enemy just latches on and goes absolutely crazy. I mean, am I lying? I don't know if I'm lying. I think I'm telling the truth. Let me turn my sound off. You don't need to hear me twice. Okay, so I saw, it looks like maybe Tamsin put Isaiah 41:10. Let's go ahead and open it on the Gateway Bible app. I mean, I think most MacBook Pro. I could not find that app to save my life. So what it is, a random Bible. We're hoping it's the true word, because if it isn't, we're in trouble. But and then I also have my King James Bible sitting here. But let's see what we can find here. So go to, oh yeah, it's definitely set up different. But we're going to look up Isaiah 41:10. Very user friendly. 41:10. Here we go. Isaiah 41:10. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. Be not dismayed, for I am thy God. I will strengthen thee. I'm going for the strength because I had a week of pure exhaustion, mainly because I just didn't have a moment to stop. Yea, I will help thee this is King James. It's really a lot of these and the thous. It's my favorite version. If it bugs you all, let me know and we can change to, I have the American Standard and the English Standard. Both are fine with me in this particular Bible. I will uphold thee with the right hand and of my righteousness. That's one of my I love that verse. I didn't actually realize, you hear something all your life, you know it. It's in the back of your head. You even quote it, but you don't technically know where it is. I will uphold thee with the right hand of my righteousness. I've said that so many times in my life. Didn't really know where that was. Thank you, Tamsin. And then number 11 says, behold, all they that were incensed against thee. Is that the right word? Am I saying that wrong? Incensed. I don't even know what that means. I mean, I thought that was like a smelly thing. Against thee shall be ashamed and confounded. Well, I like it, but okay. Well, I'm trying to read. Let me tell you, Tamsin. Let me tell you a story. Okay, so we had our first technical leadership meeting here at the church last Tuesday night. They're going to be once a month, and they gave us this book to read. I brought it. I have it. Where is it? Where is she? She's right here. Help! I'm in charge. Gina's in charge of something. And so we have to read chapter 1. And I opened it, I was like, Jess, which is our pastor's wife, she's also my cousin, so I can be a little bit informal with her. I said, I'm not really sure I can read this. I said, you might not know this, but I've gotten rid of my library. I mean, I had about a little over 2,300 books. I'm down to, I think I've kept right around 200 of my favorites because it's too difficult to read. So I was like, I guess I can see the words. I'm not really sure. So she was like, get it on Audible. But the more I thought about it, I almost would rather read a little bit at a time, be able to do my marks, write in my books. I mean, I think Audible has its place. I'm not dishing on Audible at all, especially if we have to have it. And if we really need to get something read quickly, it's a wonderful tool. But there's nothing like delving into a book of study, having your, you can write in it, you can journal with it. I don't know. I don't really know. What do you guys think about that? I mean, it's so hard to read as a whole, and now I have to read because I have to. And that makes me just a little bit nervous. So I texted Pastor this morning. I was like, does Audible cost whether you buy a book or not? Do you have to pay a monthly fee? Because if so, no. I said, I'm not going to get that many books, and I'm not going to get myself into just to keep the book you pay, which I think it is $14.95 a month, whether you buy a book or not, but then the book is in there. So you would lose the book if you bought the book. If you didn't have Audible anymore, that's just not going to work for me. So I'm going to have to think up something else. So I was kind of thinking, this is so off topic and Gina's ranting. Maybe buy the book like a Kindle type situation where I could enlarge the text and even read it in night font if I had to, you know what I mean? And for those of you that don't know, I mean, I know I look fine and normal, but when y'all are not around, and I think if you saw me on Facebook that one day when we had the earthquake, I mean, I literally, this is how I look generally. So this eye is so overstressed trying to accommodate this eye that's a mess. And then in addition to that, when I have it off, there's such, like I see bugs. That's as plain as I can be. I see bugs flying around, and if I do that kind of business, believe me, I'm not cray-cray. It's that I see, craziness. So anyways, all right. So if you're absolutely liking these studies that we're doing, and I know we're only on week 2, make sure you thumbs up so that I know to continue. If you don't really care for them, I'm okay with that also. But I think I'm getting something out of it. I believe some of you are getting something out of it, and I would love for it to grow. I mean, like if you can invite a friend with you, especially if it's someone that you're praying with or for, to join us, and maybe we could study some things about their needs also. That would be great. Okay, so I'm going to say hello to a few people, and then we're going to go on to another verse that I had that came from Stephanie last week, but we didn't delve into, which was Philippians 4 and 6. 4, 6, and 7, actually. Okay, so if you want to kind of turn there, we're going to look into that next. Philippians 4, 6, and 7. So, hi, Vicki. I know you're from Alabama. How close are you to Suzanne? And have you guys met? You should meet. You should be praying with each other. And I realize Alabama's a big state, but I'm just wondering if you're close or not. Or if you even know who I'm talking about. Maybe you don't even know who I'm talking about. I think you do, though. Raylani, I love your name, first of all. If I said it right, let me know. Raylani. My sister's name is Raylene. It's a family name. I love your name. Okay. So Joshua 1 and 9, we can go there after this. And okay, so you love your Audible. I do absolutely believe that I would love Audible for pleasure, for quick reading, for things like that. I don't know that I could justify $15 a month for when, I don't know. I'm not really exactly sure. I would have to see if there was a way to try that out or to see if that would work for me. You know, I'm not sure. And then it's just so far, I think there's 5 of us in here, but only 3 of us or 4 of us have commented. So if you're in here and you haven't said so yet, let us know you're in here if you want to. Again, say hello, what state you're from, and any prayer requests you have. Tamsin says, my husband is legally blind in his left eye. So am I. He also has the same reaction too. Okay, see, I don't know. Okay, so maybe at the end remind me, and I'll talk to you a little bit about something that I think might be going on with my eye. 2 things that I think it possibly could be. One of them slightly freaks me out. But let's go on to Philippians 4 and 6, which says, and the peace of God, which passes all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Okay, so basically, if we let him and we live in his perfect peace, okay, so, I mean, it says, my peace I leave with you. It's not like we might get it later. We can have it if we strive for it. If we work hard enough, we can get the peace of the Lord. It doesn't say any of that. He left it with us as he departed into, you know, as he was leaving, as he was moving on. I don't even know what else to say to that. It's us and our limited human understanding of exactly how much freedom we have in the Lord that causes us to live in stress and fear and worry and doubt. And believe me, if you all could have been sitting on the pews of our church yesterday, you would have heard a story that is nearly impossible to believe, yet I know it to be true. And you know what? There is technically a way for you to hear it if you want to. If you want to, you can go on the Keys Haven of Hope Facebook page, which is our church, and they have the live streaming of yesterday's sermon on that page today. And I also believe that it is on our website, I think, for eternity. I think it's just there, which again is keyshavenofhope.com. That was not a selling point. I don't need you to do that, but if you want to hear an amazing sermon testimony visit from Oh My Lands. Unbelievable. Matter of fact, even he, the preacher, doubted that it was true and in fact, and told people so. And he was like, my carnal, my human mind had such a hard time believing this was really happening. I get that. I absolutely get that. He said, even though I knew it to be true, and I knew it was exactly how the Lord works if we let him, it in your world, in your human world, it's hard to understand it unless you've lived it. I've personally lived it. He's personally lived it. But it's a wonderful, wonderful sermon yesterday. And if for some reason you can't get to it, let me know and I'll see if I can for you. Okay. Ray Lane. Well, that's really even closer to Raylene now, ain't it? Pronounced. My middle name is Ray, and Lane is a mix of my two granddaughters' middle names. It's pretty all the way around. I just love it. Okay, absolutely. If we keep an open mind to hear the Lord, absolutely. Okay, so Vicky's in Northwest Alabama, south of Muscle Shoals. Okay, since you didn't respond, Vicky, I'm thinking you might not know Suzanne Light, and you need to connect with her. Okay, enough on that. We can talk about that later. So let me see. I feel like 7 isn't there, so let me just open it. What are you guys studying this week yourselves, like at home? What are you studying on? Trying to find things these days cracks me up. See, I'm looking for Philippians, and somehow I turned to Peter. Yeah, I was two whole groups off. Philippians 4 and 6 and 7. Okay. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication. There's a mix in that, right? We can't just assume that. How do I want to say this? Because of course we have the Lord's going to cover us. You know, we're good. But it also says you have not because you ask not. So if the more we are made aware of situations that are in our lives, and we audibly ask for them and believe that he has us covered, you know, I mean, it's pretty clear. You have not because you ask not. So if you didn't ask for healing, I mean, you know, you're 100% not going to get it if you didn't ask for it. Someone just preached that the other day. I don't remember exactly how it went, and but it made sense that, you know, we can depend on God wholly, but you're 100% not going to get something that you're wanting and desiring in your life if you didn't ask for it. If you didn't ask for it, he doesn't have a chance to give it to you. Not to say he doesn't bless us and come up with things on our own, but I also think there's things in your life that you want. Like, I really in the back of my mind for years now have wanted the gift of discernment. I want that gift in my life. There's oftentimes I feel that I have that gift, but I also don't feel anointed in that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I don't know that I've been given that gift, but there's many times that I'll just be sharing with someone and they're like, how did you even know that? Or that was exactly what I needed. And of course the Lord is timely, and it's not about me, and that's not what I'm saying. But I would love to be gifted the gift of discernment. Enough of that. I don't know how I got off on that. And the peace of God, which passes all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true. Oh, I love the whatsoevers. Don't you guys love the whatsoevers? Oh, my lands, I love the whatsoevers. Whatsoever things are true, honest, just, pure, lovely, good report, virtue. If there be any praise, think on these things. Man, that in itself would keep you out of stress now, wouldn't it? Because if you're thinking on the things that, if there be any praise value in it, when you're stressing out, your kids are driving you crazy, you're going 100 miles an hour. The Lord told me in the shower one day, a couple weeks ago, I shared it with some people. I don't need you to be on 100 all the time. And I'm thinking, first of all, it's weird you're talking to me in the shower. And second of all, aren't we supposed to be going? And sometimes I go so much, so bleh, full force, that I can lose sight or, of the immediate goal, or even, and Pastor brought this out last Wednesday in service, that sometimes we go and do for the Lord so much that we left the Lord out of it. And all of a sudden, it ain't about the Lord no more. You can do and do and do and do and do and do and do. And about 2 do's in, the Lord was like, go for it if you want to, but I was done. You did what I needed you to do, but if you want to continue to exhaust yourself, you go right ahead. But you did what I asked, and you're the one that kept it up. So you brought it on yourself. You hear what I'm saying? I mean, there's literally things that are like, okay, I didn't really gather that, but I'm sitting in the shower freaking out because I'm feeling, of course, not audibly. That's not what I'm saying. Again, not that I haven't audibly heard the voice of the Lord. You never forget that, should that ever happen to you. And you're like, that's not a normal thing. If you have any idea what I'm talking about, you already know my testimony. If you don't, go back and watch my story time playlist. You'll know. Okay. Again, not getting into that here. Big old story. We need to slow down sometimes and listen. Absolutely. Stand still and let God move. Right? Standing still, it's hard to do. And when you feel you have reached the end, He'll make a way for you. Stand still and let God move. Right? Oh my lands, I can go out in front of Him so quickly, so often, it's crazy. Okay, I know that Tamsin brought up another verse. We're going to go there. We're going to go there. Boy, Tamsin's been on the ball. Okay, Vicky brought up Joshua 1:9. Let's go there. Let's see what we can find in Josh. The old Joshua, what do you got to say? I almost think I should not be depending on these little things, because you kind of know where the books are. And you're looking at these like, where are they? Yeah. It's easier just to look for it. Hold on. Let me just find it. Joshua 1:9. Although this Bible is old. Do they even make things like, they probably do. This Bible is old. This Bible is, doesn't say what year. I'm going to say in the 90s. I have a huge Bible, not huge. I have an extensive Bible collection. I went over it on this channel many years ago. I have added Bibles to it. If anyone is interested in, and I know that's, I don't know, maybe goofy, but if you're interested at all in seeing my Bible collection, I could put an updated video out on it, because I love Bibles for many different reasons. And I think that they're all the living word, and I know that they're all serving one purpose. But for many reasons, I have different Bibles set strategically in different areas of my house. This one always sits on my desk. Of course, I have the Bibles online, but there's a whole, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I can think of 8 right off the top of my head. God forbid I write something in one of them and forget which one I wrote it in and need it. Okay, so we are on Joshua 1:9. Okay, Joshua 1:9. Everybody there? Okay. Have not I commanded thee? Be strong and of good courage. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee wherever thou goest. Okay. Have I not commanded thee? So back, before Christ, it was a commandment. Clearly, it was a Mosaic commandment that they were supposed to be strong and of good courage. Now, granted, we live under grace, and I get that. So it's not technically like you're not sinning because you didn't do it. Although, it depends on how you look at it, and it depends on if you're technically shunning the Word of God and choosing to go down that poor, pitiful self. Then I'd be leery. I'd be leery if I chose to live in a self-imposed pity party mode, because I don't know where that draws a line into. I don't know. But I wouldn't want to be there. Would you? Mm-mm. Okay. Be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee wherever thou goest. And absolutely, without doubt, if we would keep that in our mind, you don't want to go around looking like a freak either. That's not what I'm saying. But you know that the Lord is with you. I'm not saying audibly stand out and talk to him, so people think you're crazy, because we don't want to go down the crazy mode either. We want people to want what we have, that they glean good information from us, that they are always thinking, that is something that I could let mentor me, that I could get some really good information from this person. Okay, so I'm in teacher mode, sorry. If you choose to go down the self-pity mode, then it's difficult to rest in the Lord. And what did it say? It said, be not afraid, neither be thou dismayed, for the Lord thy God is with thee wherever they go. Okay, so yeah, we always have to remember that he's there, and it's really, really easy to forget that. When we're, you're just in dire straits. Again, I could go back to referring to this sermon yesterday. Of course, again, you haven't heard it, but when we're in a severe human trial and you don't see a way out, it is a lot of times difficult to say, but the Lord is right beside me. Good night, look at Job. Matter of fact, this is my first notes today because I knew we were going to talk about stress. So I looked up stress on my Gateway Bible, the one that, I think many people have it on their apps, but I couldn't find it for this iMac. On the word stress, I just looked up the word stress. The first, no lie, I think it was 7 or 8 topics that came up on stress were in Job. Basically, all you gotta do is read the book of Job. It can send you 2 ways. It can absolutely make you realize God's got you. You're in the palm of his hand. He's got you covered. Or it could be like, dude, I don't know that I want any part of this. And then you get really stressed out because you're like, see, then you have to really dig deep and think, if your thought process is, if this is God and this is what he puts his people through, then I don't want any part of it, then go back and reevaluate your actual relationship between you and Jesus and realize that, first of all, what God did was lift the veil, and the enemy is the one that did all that craziness. But if you read the book of Job, it in general brings so much understanding and enlightenment to how to live through a trial and a tribulation in your life. So helpful. And again, I realize it's Old Testament, but it really will help you. Okay, I saw that there was some more. So 2 Corinthians 12 and 10. Let's look that up. We are all over the Bible today. Okay, 2 Corinthians. Y'all are faster than me. Again, I'm going to just quit looking because that's just messing me up. I'm on the slow mode today. I'm not quite sure why, kids. I don't know. Okay, I know it's after Acts. I know it's after Romans because I know it is. But I'm not seeing it. 1 Corinthians. 2 Corinthians. 12:10. Y'all are screaming at me. Gina, it's right here. I know you are. Okay. 12:10. Therefore, I take pleasure in Okay, let's read 9. Let's see what it says before it. And he said unto me, and then it's Jesus speaking, my grace is sufficient for thee, for my strength is made perfect in weakness. Most gladly, therefore, will I rather glory in my infirmities than that the power of Christ may rest upon me. Therefore, I take pleasure in infirmities. Okay, so here I was thinking I was seeing a bug and it really was a bug. Therefore, I take pleasure in my infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in persecutions, in distresses for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am made strong. I almost don't exactly know how to comment on that. I mean, that's a really strong person to say, I'm glad that I had this infirmity because that's difficult for me. I understand it. I understand that's where we need to be, and I know that that's a strong one, and it's a wonderful one. And it's something to aspire to, right? But I'm thinking, maybe I need to read the whole chapter because I'm thinking, I don't really want them. I wouldn't gather them on me, but I totally get the point of I'm going to grow stronger because I went through them. I am a stronger person. I am a stronger Christian. I am a stronger follower of Christ because I laid there in that coma. I nearly died. I basically did die. When I woke up, I had a true divine, visit from the Lord. I had things happen to me in that whole interim that most people don't get that pleasure. They don't get to see. I believe without doubt that I saw the river of life, and it was the most absolute beautiful thing I have ever seen in my life. It's incomprehensible to articulate correctly because it was that beautiful. I've tried to explain it for decades now, 2 decades. Well, almost, a little bit under 2 decades. To explain what I saw, yet I can see it as clear today as the day it happened. I don't know. It changed me. You know what I mean? Am I saying I've never doubted again? I've never had trials again? I've never had struggles again? No, I'm not saying any of that. I'm not saying any of that. But because of that scenario, because of the things that happened while I was recovering, after I woke up from the coma, I didn't have the same trial as my family. I didn't live through, I'm going to die. Okay? I didn't live through that. So I don't have the same mental stress, crazy, oh my goodness, that my mom and dad did, that my husband did, that my child did, that my sisters did, that my family did. I don't have that. All I had was when I woke up, a divine happening in my life, 2 or 3 more things that happened during that time, and then get up and move, get up and do, get up and this, that, and the other. A prime example was they told me, Mrs. Pearson, you're going to have to go to this rehab hospital because we can't keep you here any longer because you're well enough that you need to be out, but you need to go to this other hospital to recuperate. Well, in my mind, I'm thinking, no, I live in this town. I know where that hospital is, and absolutely not. Now, mind you, I had just woken up from a coma where I had been out for a crazy amount of time. I couldn't walk, talk, eat, hold a fork, dress. I mean, none of that was happening yet. I had only stood up once and fainted. Okay, so that's where I'm at. And they come in and they tell us this, and I'm thinking in my altered state, okay, how am I going to get this out so that they understand what I'm saying? And I'm saying, I'm not going there, so you need to figure something else out. Of course, I didn't say it all like that. I don't know exactly how he understood what I was saying. But basically, he said, I don't know what to tell you, Mrs. Pearson, but because I wanted to go home, period. Period, I was going home. If you were leaving me, if you were taking me out and I couldn't stay here, I'm going home. I ain't going to that hospital. Period. Okay, that's where I was. The doctor says, I can't help you. And I'm like, well, what do I need to do? He said, the only way I will let you get up and leave this hospital is if you pick up this wound vac. Whole other story, part of my testimony. Don't have time to get into it. I was on a wound vac. I had a massive opening on my back. It was at least this big around, and I was on the first case in the state of California that had what is now very commonly used to open big wounds. I was the very first one in California. It was a prototype. It was a mess. No one knew anything about it. There was really no way I was going home. He said, the only way is if you can pick up this machine and walk it around the nurse's station twice. If you can do that and show me you can do that, I will send you home tomorrow. I picked that sucker off, up and out we went. We went around that nurse's station twice. I came back and fell in bed completely exhausted, and I went home the next day at 8 o'clock. Okay? Was I ready? No. Was I physically, absolutely, completely ill from March until August? I had to have a home health care nurse come in to my home every day and change the wounds, the wound coverings. Hurt like you don't even know hurt. But I had my mind made up that I was not going down there in the middle of Skid Row where there was nothing but crazies and live for X amount of time. It was just not going to happen. I can't explain how I did that. Fainted the day before when they stood me up. Fainted dead on a doornail. And I picked that thing up that was not light. Let me be clear. It was a heavy, say the size of, I don't even know what to say the size of. 2 car batteries, a car battery and a half put together maybe. Probably more heavy, and it did have a handle. Yeah, I would say that's a good average of what it was. We serve a great big God. He knew I was scared to death to go there. He knew I was absolutely going to not be able to handle being in that part of town by myself in a state hospital where I knew they kept the crazies. I just physically wasn't able. And the Lord protected me. He absolutely did. So, do I think that we have the coverage from the Lord in a stressful situation? Yes, I do. I absolutely do know that I can turn to him. Here we got a big, okay, Tamsin says, I worked in a rehabilitation in a hospital for many years as a rehabilitation technician. Saw many wound vacs. Wow, that is determination, Gina. By the faith of God, those wound vacs are absolutely correct. Yeah, see? There's someone who knows. They're not light. And I literally fainted the day before, and he knew. That doctor knew. He knew. If I tell her this, she's going to go to that hospital. Because there's just not one thing she can do about it. It took 3 nurses to try to get me up off the floor the day before because I'm 200 pounds. I might be little, but I'm heavy, right? And there's these 3 women trying to pick me up. They had to go get a male I don't even know what he was. He was in scrubs, so I'm assuming he was maybe, an RA or something. I'm not exactly sure what he was, to come and get me. And that dude dropped me. Picked me up, stood me on my feet. I said, I'm not ready, and let it go. He let me go, and I fell again. No lie. It was a day. I don't know how we got off on that. I'm hoping it was a blessing to someone. I really have no idea how that happened. We are once again 40 minutes in. Does anybody have any specific questions about stress? Because other than that, let's read Psalms 91 about anxiety. That came from D from Connecticut. And then I will read through these comments. If there's anything else we need to address, maybe I'll come back again. But I just really think that we've touched on stress and how to give it to the Lord. And there's many, many, many more scriptures than these. But, if you're under a stress like Job was under, or your family, or your kids, or, money, there's so many things that you can specifically hand to the Lord. And we can find a scripture nearly to back every single one of them up. So let's do this. If you still have questions about stress and you can't find the answer for yourself, go ahead and leave the question. Either DM me on, or whatever that's called, message me on Facebook, because at this point I'm guessing you don't want to put it here in the comments, or just put the question out in the Facebook page, SeeTheGina, and we will specifically in that thread answer that particular question and move forward with you. And then what did I say we're going to look up? We are going to look don't leave, Vicki, because we're going to read yours next. We are going to look up Psalms 91. Love Psalms. I love so many Psalms. Psalms 91. I love Psalms 93. One of my favorites. Okay, so we don't have a specific verse. It's just the whole one. So I'm going to go ahead and read 11 and 12. I'm thinking that might be where this was, but the whole Psalm in 91 is relatively good for any type of situation like this. But it says in 91:11 says, "For he shall give his angels charge over thee, to keep thee in all thy ways. They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone." Okay, so y'all know that we have angels around us. Again, I know I keep referring to the sermon yesterday, but I'm wondering if it was for you all, because every single thing we're touching on, he seemed to touch on. He was a visiting minister. He's from Joplin or Seneca, Missouri. Joplin, Missouri, I believe. His name is Finney, Pastor Finney. His wife grew up right here in this town, in this church, and they were here visiting yesterday. And man, does that man have a testimony. He has a testimony that is 20 times more unbelievable than mine. Like, God just flat out showed out. He just flat out showed out in that man's testimony. And I love that about the Lord. Don't you? Don't you just him? Sometimes he just shows out. He's like, I got this. And there ain't no doubt. Let me give you a little bit of a hint. If you still don't want to go watch that sermon, I'm going to give you a little bit of prompt about it. Just because I think it would do us all a world. I'm going to go back and watch it because I feel like I can glean more information from it. He was in a car accident. That's really all I'm going to say about it, because the testimony is amazing and I don't want to ruin it for you. Where the police immediately was interviewing him because they thought he was going to expire. They needed to get the information out of him quickly because the man was going to expire. Okay? Got me? That's where we're at. He tells his story, and blatantly this police officer calls him a liar to his face, to his face called him, you're a liar. You are lying. We don't know why you're lying, but we will find out. Lo and behold, go to his wife who is sitting in the car. He's not in the car. She's in the car. She tells him the same story. The officer calls her a liar as well. These are pastors. Why would they lie? It's a story. God showed out. I'm not kidding you. It's amazing. Okay. Vicki, I want to read your comment. Vicki said, Vicki, we prayed for you last week. I don't know that you watched our live, but you were the topic of our prayer last week. And I'm so glad you're here with us today. It said, I've been in the chemo chair, and now they're about to unhook me. So I'll miss the next few minutes. Oh, she's gone. She's gone. But let me just tell you, Vicki was here today. That is the Vicki that we prayed for last week. She had chemo, obviously, today while we were doing it. Please don't forget Vicki. She is, I'm telling you, she'll pray for all of you. Every single one of you. You ask her to, she'll pray for you. I love that. I think we only have 5 people in the room. I think we're going to go ahead and go. We are again at a little over 45 minutes. I don't mean for these to be this long, but there's so much information I want to get out to you all that, you know, it is what it is. I can't help myself. Okay, kids, I'm going to go ahead and go because I don't want to keep you any longer. If you like this type of study, please give it a thumbs up. Please share it with your friends. Bring a friend with you next week. The more we can get in here, the more I'll know. I love every single thing about these studies. I want to continue them. I do not have a set time in place. I will post something in the Facebook page prior to going live again next time. And I do know for sure we're going to be talking about the women of the Bible. If you could, before you leave, and if you're watching this later, maybe tell me who you're interested in learning about as far as women in the Bible. That'll give us a little bit of a starting place. And I kind of know in my head who I want to talk about, but that way we'll have a good idea. And it's something that is relevant to us. All of these women lived on earth just like we did. They had trials and tribulations, stress and craziness just like we do, yet they somehow found their way in the living Word of God, right? So that means we can glean information from them. And I'm going to leave you all with that. If you have anyone specific, make sure you leave it in the comments below. We'll work on that. And I will talk to you all later. I'm really leaning toward doing this on Facebook. I'm not sure, are all of you part of my Facebook group? I'm not sure of that either. I just really want to try one in Facebook and see what it does, mainly because all of the people that are in that group are part of us. They already all love the Lord generally. I have about a 2,400 following, and not everybody that follows me, sad to say, are Christians. They don't all follow the Lord. There's so many things. I talk about my weight. I skincare. I do skincare for major cosmetics companies because I have such bad rosacea, which of course most of it's covered up. You can see a little bit of it right there though. It's peeking through. So I talk about that some, and not everybody, this isn't a topic. I don't want to preach. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to seem preachy to people either, but I definitely want to get the word out to those that want to hear it and want to be part of it. I don't know. It's a fine line. It's a fine line. I don't know exactly what to do there. Let's let the Lord guide us. Let's let the Lord guide us on that. I'm going to let you all go, knowing that I'm praying for each and every one of you today, every day, every single day. I open up my YouTube page and I see this video. I pray for all of you and that every one of you that have come in. I thank you all for being here with us. Praise Jesus for all of the information that we got out today. And I will talk to you all later. Bye-bye. God bless. And now to turn this off so far away from me. That should be fun. Oh, here we are, way up here. Bye.